Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Um, it's good to be here today. Hope everyone's day is going good so far. Thank y'all for coming out. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. As the title says, today be doing jealousy part two, and it's we're going into the story of Joseph again, Israel's son, Jacob. And as in the first one we did last week, we know that his brothers sold him into slavery because of their jealousy. And this week, today, we'll be going, this time we'll be starting Genesis chapter 39. We'll be doing verses 1 through 18 to show how even though he was a slave, he still had individuals jealous of his success. And this time, how we have someone who benefits from his success buying into the jealous lies that were told about him. Um, so I'll give everyone time to get in their books or whatever they're using to Genesis chapter 39. We starting with verse 1 and we'll be going all the way to 18. And I will be reading from the Amplified version. Give everyone a little time here to get there. And hopefully everyone's day is going good so far. And we'll get to it. All right, let's see here. Give me a minute. All right. Get up. All right. So starting with verse 1. Now Joseph had been taken, and Potiphar, an Egyptian officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the royal guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. The Lord was with Joseph. And even though a slave, became a successful and prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Now his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to prosper in his hand. So Joseph pleased Potiphar and found favor in his sight, and he served him as his personal servant. He made Joseph overseer of his house, and he put all that he owned in Joseph's charge. It happened that from the time he made Joseph overseer in his house and put him in charge over all that he owned, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house because of Joseph. So the Lord's blessing was on everything that Potiphar owned, in the house and in the field. So stop here for a moment. So you see that even though Joseph had been sold into slavery, Potiphar, who bought him, he prospered by having Joseph in his house, by having him under his care. He also prospered because God wanted to make sure that Joseph prospered. So he also made Potiphar prosper because of Joseph's being there. And so it was a symbiotic relationship here. Um, we get to see here in the beginning that because Joseph is prospering, Potiphar is also prospering from this relationship. Starting with verse 6. So Potiphar left all that he owned in Joseph's charge, and with Joseph there, he did not need to pay attention to anything except the food he ate. Now Joseph was handsome and attractive in form and appearance. Then after a time, his master's wife looked at Joseph with desire, and she said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Look, with me in the house, my master does not concern himself with anything. He has put everything that he owns in my charge. He is not greater in this house than I am, nor has he kept anything from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do this great and evil sin against God and your husband?" And so it was that she spoke to Joseph persistently day after day, but he did not listen to her plea to lie beside her or be with her. You see here that at Joseph, he already has someone here, which is why I want to which is why I picked the thumbnail that I chose um for this uh for this particular scripture here, where it says some people turn to blind and feel jealous inside when they see your success and happiness. So Potiphar's wife, seeing his success, seeing the happiness that Joseph had, and like they do, she wants a part of it out of her own selfishness, but she also wants it in a selfish way. She doesn't care whatsoever about Joseph. She just wants the prosperousness that he has for her own selfish desires. So we see the jealousy here already. So then, starting with verse 11. Then it happened one day that Joseph went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the men of the household was there in the house. She caught Joseph by his outer robe, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his robe in her hand and ran and got outside the house. When she saw that he had left his robe in her hand and had run outside, she called to the men of her household and said to them, "Look at this. Your master has brought a Hebrew into the house to mock and insult us. He came to me to lie with me, and I screamed. When he heard me screaming, he left his robe with me and ran outside the house." So Joseph's outer robe beside her until his master came home. Then she told her husband the same story, saying, "The Hebrew servant whom you brought among us came to me to mock and insult me. Then as soon as I raised my voice and screamed, he left his robe with me and ran outside the house." Welcome, Radner. Welcome, Radner. So you see here that in verse, what is it, 11? Yeah. In verse 11, where it says, "Then it happened one day that Joseph went into a house to attend to his duties, and none of the men of the household was there in the house." This right here shows that because of his of her repeated advances and his repetitive denial and refutements to her, she set this whole thing up from the jump because she knew she was going nowhere. So if she couldn't have him, and she couldn't prosper more than what she wanted, then Potiphar could not have him as well. So she set out to ruin this relationship that was prosperous for Potiphar as well as it was for Joseph. And she was benefiting too, but as we seen and through our lives, that these women, they never think about the long-term effects of such jealousy. So if the man who is creating a prosperous environment just by being here, if you do something that causes him to no longer be there, your favor goes automatically. So she started a lie here to create a rift between Joseph and Potiphar, and you knew it was going to be successful. But it just goes to show here that, the other thing you see here is the respect that Joseph had for Potiphar and not wanting to abuse the privileges that Potiphar had given to him by not sleeping with his wife, even though his wife wanted that. His wife wanted to betray her own husband. Jealousy, it knows, it cares nothing for it doesn't distinguish, it doesn't discriminate. It takes on all comers, just like stupidity. They welcome everyone. and she let her jealousy get the best of her, and it ended up getting the best of Potiphar as well. But I'm going to stop here because I only wanted to go into verse 18, and next week we'll go further into this story. We'll do another part. This is a very big and huge story that that I want to bring and show, you know, how jealousy, you know, it really is a poisonous and a mental cancer. It just eats away. It eats away at everyone and everything, and it does not discriminate whatsoever. It wants to take everything down with it, and that's what was going on here. But we'll finish up. We'll finish up Joseph's story here within the next few weeks, because this is a very big story, and we'll see how he overcomes this jealousy from everyone surrounding him, and how even though he's had these haters, you know, try and impede his progress, they still don't. God has something better for him, and his actions and his mindset shows that he has something better for himself as well. And this is truly a teaching tool and a learning tool to show that how, you know, if we practice and have the same mindset that Joseph has here, that we can overcome those difficulties with individuals as well who are not in our corner, who are seeking to destroy us, who are showing themselves to actually be enemies of us. And that's what this is all about. It's all about showing the practicalness of these stories here and how we can learn from them. But what I'm going to do is I'll be closing this one down, and what I'll be doing is I'll be opening up the barbershop talk on this, and we'll have a discussion on this and how it applies to our everyday lives that we live today. I want to thank everyone for coming out and being a part of this. Thank you, Wadner, Lawrence, the Young Specialist. This is I enjoy doing these Bible study type discussions here, and it's very enlightening on how we can take all these principles and logical stories, the material and instructions that it has in here that we can actually learn and apply them to our everyday lives to make them better, because that's what it's all about, applying good information to our lives to help enrich our own lives. I just want to thank everyone for coming out. Don't forget to like the video. Everyone that checks this out, don't forget to like it on the way out. Don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe to the Oaken. And thanks and peace, everyone.